Hi everyone, my name is Haley and welcome back or welcome to my channel. I think I forgot to film an intro for this video, so this is me with a new haircut at the beginning, but you'll see for a majority of the video this is pre-haircut. It's like time travel. But for this week's video I wanted to catch up on my Goodreads goal, so it's going to be a reading vlog, but I am 11 books behind my Goodreads goal at this moment, so there's going to be two parts to this video. This is the first part where I'm reading 5 books, and then the second part I'm going to try and read 6 books for a total of 11. By the time the second part is posted, because I think I'm posting it in like 2 weeks, my goal number will have changed obviously, but I'm sticking to 11 because that's what I saw when I realized I like needed to catch up to it. So that is what this video is. So I hope you guys enjoy and are going to be excited for a part 2, and without further ado, let's just get into the video. Okay, so as you saw from the intro to this video, I am trying to knock out some books for my Goodreads goal. The first book that I'm going to be reading is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I'm that much of the way through chapter 12, page 128. I have a ways to go, but it's a really quick read and the font is pretty big, so I don't think it's going to take me very long, and I'm really enjoying it, so I'm excited to keep reading. This is about a girl named Elspeth Spindle. She got infected by the mist that took over the town of Blender that she lives in. She survived the infection, but it gave her magic, and anyone that was infected the king had killed. So she's hiding in plain sight. Nobody knows that she has magic, but her family knows that she was infected. And then one night she runs into a highwayman and he sees that she is infected and learns that she has magic. So now they have to team up to find these things called Providence cards, which is how the general public in this town use magic. If you have one of these cards, you can possess the magic that is imbued with it, but it always comes at a price. So they are trying to collect all of the cards and break the curse on this town, and she is kind of forced into helping them because they know her secret. So that's what this is about. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm just going to read this probably for a couple hours until I get ready for bed, and I will update you with my thoughts when I'm done reading. It's the next day, but again I'm in my pajamas. This video is already going so well. I finished One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I'm torn between 4 stars and 4.5 stars, so I'm not exactly sure. I put 4 stars on Goodreads right now, so I think that's where I'm gonna leave it. But I really liked this. I thought the magic was really interesting. I loved the budding relationship between Elspeth and Raven. I really enjoyed the relationships that she has with like Raven's family. I love a good traitor to the king type of story, so I really enjoyed this. It ended on a cliffhanger kind of, so I'm really excited to see what the next one has in store, and it is a duology I believe, so I'm really happy that there's only one more book, so it's not too intimidating to wrap up the series. But I'm really excited to see what happens, and I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil anything, but it got me out of a reading slump. It's a really quick read. The pacing is done really well and it's easy to follow, so if you're in a reading slump or you just want some fast-paced fantasy with a little bit of romance, I highly recommend One Dark Window. We're 1 book out of 11 done for this video. I'll probably only do a few for this video, but the next book that I have started is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is a small town cowboy romance, and it follows our main characters Clementine and Luke. Clementine is the daughter of ranchers, and she lived on this farm, and now she is a professional horse racer, and Luke is her older brother's best friend, and he's just been around her his whole life because they're really close family. So Luke would spend a lot of time there because his own family life wasn't really the best, so they grew up together. She can't stand him, but he sees her in a new light when she moves back home after she gets in a riding accident and can't bring herself to continue racing. So this is an enemies to lovers, brothers, best friend, small town romance, and I'm really liking liking it so far. I will say at the beginning, I'm only this far in, 66 pages, but at the beginning Luke is his attraction that he'd never felt to Emmy before, it doesn't come out of nowhere, but it's like, oh, I've never felt this before, I can't feel this. Like, it's very strong, and we don't really get eased into it, I guess. So that's one thing I will say about it. I wish that it was a little bit more slow burn on the like attraction, because it kind of is just showing us like, oh, I never saw her this way, but now I do. So I like a little bit more exploration with that, but other than that, I'm really liking it so far. And then I'm really trying to knock out some books for this video, so I also started an audiobook for my commute to work, because my commute is like 50 minutes, so I can listen to a lot of audio on the way there and on the way home. So I'm listening to Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I am 18% of the way through, and I just started it today, so hopefully I can finish it in this video. I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't know if anybody has seen this show called The Watchful Eye on Hulu, but it's basically about this girl who moves into this apartment, like this really rich apartment, as a babysitter, and then there's like a bunch of secrets going on in that apartment building with rich people and murder, and that is the vibe that I get from Lock Every Door, and so I really like it so far. I really like the main character. Her name is Jules. I didn't love the main character from Only One Left by Riley Sager, so I'm pleasantly surprised that I like Jules, but I'll just tell you the synopsis of it really quick. So it says, no visitors, no nights spent away from the apartment, no disturbing the other residents, all of whom are rich or famous or both. These are the only rules for Jules Larson's new job as an apartment sitter at the Bartholomew, one of Manhattan's most high-profile and mysterious buildings. Recently heartbroken and just plain broke, Jules is taken in by the splendor of her surroundings and accepts the terms, ready to leave her past life behind. As she gets to know the residents and staff of the Bartholomew, Jules finds herself drawn to fellow apartment sitter Ingrid, who comfortingly, disturbingly reminds her of the sister she lost 8 years ago. When Ingrid confides that the Bartholomew is not what it seems and the dark history hidden beneath its gleaming facade is starting to frighten her, Jules brushes it off as a harmless ghost story until the next day when Ingrid disappears. Searching for the truth about Ingrid's disappearance, Jules digs deeper into the Bartholomew's dark past and into the secrets kept within its walls. Her discovery that Ingrid is not the first apartment sitter to go missing at the Bartholomew pits Jules against the clock as she races to unmask a killer, expose the building's hidden past, and escape the Bartholomew before her temporary status becomes permanent. I'm really excited to see what happens. I hope I can finish Done and Dusted within the next day or two, and then I'm pretty sure Lock Every Door will be like at the end of the video, because I'll only really listen to it on my commute. I just got home from work and I have a little bit of like an upset stomach, like nauseous kind of, so I'm gonna have a ginger ale and raspberry lemonade Canada Dry. Don't know if it's a myth or not that it helps. The placebo is enough for me. So I actually decided to also walk to the train station from work today, so I got a lot of progress, so let me update you on that. So now I'm 44% of the way through, and I think I'm on chapter 20? Yeah, chapter 20. The neighbor has gone missing and our main character Jules is trying to figure out what's going on. She doesn't really know where to look because there's not a lot of leads on where Ingrid is. And one thing that I really like about this book is it kind of feels like a video game quest, because she's like going to a bunch of different people that live in this apartment and talking to them and trying to figure out information. And if you've ever played a quest-based video game, you have to go around asking people things. Like Skyrim is a really good example of that. That's the vibe that it's giving me, so I really like that. Again, I'm not annoyed by the main character. I feel like for thrillers and mysteries, the main character can become really annoying really fast, but so far Jules has not irritated me, so I count that as a win. And then we have Done and Dusted. I have 30 pages left. I'm so excited because then I will be done with 2 books for this video, and then I can start another one, and then hopefully I can finish my audiobook for this video, so it'll be 4, but I want to try to get at least 5. I'm liking this still. I'll give my final thoughts when I'm finished because I only have 30 pages left. I did write some notes down on my phone, so yeah, I will share those with you once I am finished. Finished Done and Dusted, and I I think I'm going to give this 3 stars. I think I really liked the main characters Clementine and Luke. I just don't know if it's because I'm used to reading longer slow burn romances, but I just felt like we saw that their relationship progressed, but I didn't really feel it. I don't know. I just felt like there's something missing as their relationship progressed. Like they would talk about things, deep things, he would share part of his life, but a lot of it was like, oh, I've gotten to know Luke more, or I've gotten to know Emmy more, instead of like really going into the scenes that would make them know each other more, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I kind of just felt like a little bit rushed. Like I like them together, but I don't really feel it. And then another thing that kind of pulled me out of the story, there was a few formatting errors, like with quotes and stuff, and jumping between past and present tense in the book. When it was only in one tense, it would like accidentally switch to another briefly, which also kind of pulled me out of the book. And then I was really confused, but Luke is 32 in the book and Clementine is 27. And so there's this passage and it says, from Luke's perspective, I almost didn't accept the bar. I didn't want anything from my dad. When he died a few years ago, I had made it over 30 years without needing anything from him and hadn't wanted to start then. So he's 32. His dad died a few years ago, which is 3 or more. And before he died, he had made it over 30 years without needing anything from him. So in my brain, he's supposed to be like 37. But he's 32. So when I saw that, I was confused, and I kept thinking about it until I figured out Clementine's age, because I didn't know how old he was supposed to be. So for like a really long time, this was just on my mind and I couldn't stop thinking about it until I figured it out. So that was another thing. Am I like misunderstanding that? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe I am, but I don't think so. So yeah, I'm gonna give that 3 stars, I think. I'm really excited to read the next book. I think it got a better rating on Goodreads, but I'm really actually the most excited for the 3rd book, but it's not out yet. It doesn't come out until November, I believe, so I'm probably not going to continue this series right now. This is another one to knock off of my Goodreads goal. The next order of business is choosing another book that I can start tomorrow. I don't think I want to read anymore tonight, but let's see what I have. Something short. Okay, the lighting is terrible because my window's right there. I don't really know what I'm in the mood for because I just read like a fantasy romance and now I just read a regular romance, but there's not a lot of short science fiction books. I don't know. I was gonna do Bookshops and Bone Dust, but I don't know. Oh, okay. I can do this. This is Kappa. I'm already 19 pages through and there's like 85. So this will be perfect. This is a Japanese fiction book about this man who is like a patient in an insane asylum, and it's from his perspective of when he fell down this hole and went to the world of kappas and how it kind of changed how he saw Japanese society and everything like that. So I think this will be what I read next, but I probably won't check in with you until tomorrow because I don't think I want to read anymore today. Hi guys, it is the next day and I have an update. I actually finished listening to Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and so I wanted to tell you my thoughts about that. Let me read you my review of Lock Every Door because I really enjoyed it. I gave this 4.5 stars. This is my 2nd Riley Sager book, and I liked it a lot more than The Only One Left. I really enjoyed the main character, Jules. I find that with thrillers, it's really easy to make a character unlikable on accident, but I found that Jules was like a really good character. I felt really connected to her and the other characters in the book by the end of it. Like I would love to see a series where we're just like watching Jules solve crime. Like I feel like that would be so much fun because I really genuinely liked her, and I didn't think that the reveals were cheap or like coming from left field. I thought it was very well done. And then I said I usually don't get scared by books, but the ending of this truly freaked me out because it's not something that I believe could never happen, which is terrifying. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you've read it, I feel like you understand what I'm saying. There are just some things that I feel like can happen in this world, and the ending of this is something that I can see happening. I thought the audiobook was really good. I would highly recommend. Okay, so another update. I didn't end up finishing or reading Kappa yet. I actually ended up starting The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I don't know why I'm kind of in a thriller mood, so I wanted to start this. I'm about that much of the way through chapter 21, which is the last chapter before part 2. This story follows a retired actress, her husband, her son, her 2 friends, her like nanny slash assistant, and the groundskeeper of an island that this actress owns. All of them, besides the groundskeeper, go to this island in Greece that's like 20 minutes away from Mykonos, and the groundskeeper lives there full time, and so that's where he comes into play. And at the beginning of the story, we know that somebody gets murdered, but we don't know who. So the story is from the point of view of one character, and they are like retelling the story. So we are learning about the whole trip and the events that led up to it and the aftermath. But something that I really enjoy about this is the writing style. I've never read any other Alex Michaelides books. It kind of reminds me of like If We Were Villains. Not that I've read it yet, but it's giving the vibe of someone who is in a pretentious world and environment and like explaining what happened from their point of view. I'm like transported into the story every time I open the book. Like sometimes when I'm reading, it takes me a second to like become immersed in the story, but I feel like with this, I'm just like right back in it, and it's just really easy to get sucked in. So I'm really enjoying it, and I think I will be able to finish this by tomorrow, and that will be 4 books for this video, and then I'll read Kappa, which would be 5, but I will check in with you when I have some more thoughts about The Fury. Okay, so yesterday I actually finished The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I had 3 pages left, and then I had to go to my hair appointment, so that was not the most fun reading experience, but other than that, I gave this book 5 stars. We cheered. A thriller, 5 stars. If you have watched my videos for a while, you'll know that anytime I talk about a thriller, I'm looking for something that is 5 stars, because I find with thrillers, it's either really predictable, or I don't like the main character, or like the plot line just is too all over the place to try and get one over the reader. So it's been really hard for me to find a 5-star thriller, but I am so pleasantly surprised with this book. I had a really good time reading it. The story is not about the murder itself, is what the narrator tells us. He says the story is about why it happened and what happened before and what happened after. That's what was stated in the beginning, and I think when books do that, it sets up the expectations for the reader. In thrillers, obviously, we think that the murder is the most important part, but since we know going into it that the murder is a subplot, it makes it way more enjoyable, and it kind of takes out the part that I have critiqued before where the murder is really predictable or something like that. So I think it adds another layer to a thriller, if that makes sense. And so the main character, or the narrator, writes the story as if he is talking to us. So it says a lot of stuff like, you should have another drink before we get back to the story, or and you're gonna think that I'm this way because of the things that I did. So that's the kind of perspective that we get in the story, and it's really interesting in the timeline because like we are privy to how the narrator is telling the story. He will say, well, I'm gonna jump around a few parts because I need to explain this before I can go back and explain that, and then the story follows that direction. So we will have past and present tense jumping around because that is how the narrator wants to tell the story, which I also really enjoyed. So I don't want to spoil anything. I liked the way that the narrator spoke to us and wrote the story, because even though he's telling a story, he still inserts his own opinions and his own thoughts on things. So it's like we are finding out what's happening, but we're also getting a biased point of view, or we are finding out more about a main character who is the narrator, who is part of this friend group, through how he sees things instead of like getting told things about him. I hope this is all making sense. I found that the language, because the narrator, his name is Elliot, he is a playwright, and so the language that he uses and the way that he speaks in the book is kind of pretentious, or just like someone with a writing degree or with a hobby or job of writing, which I'm not saying everyone, but you know the type of people I'm talking about. So that was the vibe I got from him, but I feel like that type of person mixed with a thriller makes a really good story and a really compelling way to tell a story, if that makes sense. So that's what I really enjoyed about it. I could guess who the murderer was and who got murdered, but there were a couple of things that happened that I did not even think about, because we are told in the beginning, oh, this is about us as people, not about the murder. So to me, I didn't really think there was any twists or anything that were gonna happen, or like anything that I didn't expect coming to happen, because it just didn't seem like it would. But that doesn't mean it came out of left field. It was like still very understandable and like clicked into place. It all worked really well together, and if you were to reread it, you would see how it would work together. And so I really enjoyed that. It did not come out of left field. It didn't feel cheap. I really enjoyed this. I think my favorite part was the writing style, and then the storytelling was just fabulous. So if you're looking for a thriller that is kind of more about the characters themselves and comes from kind of an interesting perspective, I would definitely recommend this book. The fifth and final book that we are reading for this video is Kappa by Ryunosuke Okutagawa. I think I've already explained what this is about. This Japanese man, he falls into the world of kappas, and he starts to realize that like Japanese society is not a place that he wants to be, or he starts seeing a lot of things wrong with it, but it's told from his life as a patient in an insane asylum. So like he had come back from the land of the kappas, and we are learning about what he experienced when he was there. So I'm on page 19 and there are 82 pages, so I'm gonna knock this out really fast, get another book under my belt, and then tell you what I thought, and that will be the end of this video. So let's get reading. Okay, I had taken a break going back and forth, arguing with people on TikTok and comments about Palestine, as one does, you know, and I picked my book back up, and this is one of the first things that I read. And then all hell broke loose. Police tyranny. Play on, Krabick, play on. Stupid bastard, fall back, don't give in. In the midst of this uproar of voices, chairs toppled, programs flew, and as if that weren't enough, I don't know who actually threw them, an empty bottle of cider, some pebbles, and even a half-eaten cucumber rained down on us. This book knows what it's talking about. I am pleased to announce that I have finished Kappa. It honestly took me a while to finish it because I was getting distracted on my phone and stuff, but I don't really know what I'm gonna rate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It kind of just was like, I have it, so I want to read it, and it's short, so I wanted to finish it. So I think I would give it like a 3-star, because it was really just in the middle. Like, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it. So I think I'm gonna give it a 3-star. One thing that I wished we had a little bit more of is that at the end of the synopsis it says, when he returns to Japan, he is disgusted by humanity, and just as Gulliver misses his beloved companions, he begins to pine for his old Kappa friends. He only returns to the human world in the last like 3 or 4 pages, and so I wanted to see more of why, like what he thought about humans and what it was like living in the world of humans again. Instead of just getting like a couple pages, I wanted there to be more exposition about that, and so that was one thing I really wanted from the book. It was just like a weird story, you know, this made-up creature and all of their made-up customs and stuff like that. I thought it was funny. I thought the commentary on certain things was interesting, but it wasn't as thought-provoking as I thought it was gonna be, and so yeah, I don't know. 3 stars, but we have read 5 books for this video, and I'm honestly really shocked because I haven't touched a book since like February or March, and it's now May. So I'm really happy and I'm really excited and proud of myself. So I read One Dark Window, Done and Dusted, Lock Every Door, The Fury, and Kappa. The part 2 of this is going to be 6 books, and we will be that much closer to my reading goal. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you've read any of these books, if this video is making you put any of them on your TBR. If you enjoy reading vlogs like this, I'm still trying to figure out how often to do reading vlogs, so if you'd like to see them more often often, please let me know down below. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!